Kings of Dirt and the GXCC races are proudly brought to you by Northwest Bulk Carriers and all of the GXCC's co-sponsors.
Yeah, Shish, it feels like this is our first event. I was so nervous when we started here and prepping, but it's good to be back. It's good to host again, and it's awesome to see the support that the people give us. And big thanks to Willie Dykema and Vian Dykema and all the farm owners here. They work so nicely with us. They're so generous. They let us race here. So it's been a pleasure being here for 2 weeks prepping the track, and it's an awesome track.
Every single time learning something different, something new. So yes, just trying to make NWB proud. Yeah.
Very dusty. We picked up a lot of dust on the road here, just on the way in. Bit of a breeze or so, hopefully it blows away the dust. So we'll sort it out. We'll get there.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, we've been on for a long time now. Luckily, we had a couple of practice races before this, so I think we're ready for this one.
Ja nee, dis lekker om terug te wees. My eerste 2 GXCC's het nie so baie goed, of my eerste 3 GXCC's het nie so baie goed gegaan nie. Baie bietjie probleme gegee. Maar ja, ek's reg vir dit.
And after almost a 3-month break, everyone was ready to get on the line, get back up and riding at full pace once again. All riders, bikes and everything were lined up good to go. A big refresh and it was normal story resuming once again with an extremely tight hole shot scenario. A big wiggle out of the start pen, and once again Gideon Jacobs was going to be the man to get chased down. This time around, Ruan Tat, who is very strong off the line, ran him close and he was early number 2 wheel, with the rest getting stuck in the early dust. The Q2s, everyone was going to be chasing down on Hannes Simon, but it was return to form for Swanee, and he was going to be an incredibly strong rider to watch out for, as well as the returning Johan Oosthuizen.
The hole shot is key, because if you go out here, the first section is red soil, so that's going to be dusty.
It was Stefan Swanepoel who got himself into a great situation. He was going to be running clear air and getting into the tail enders of the Q1s. Vian van Zyl was in a number 3 spot, chasing down on the 2nd place ride of Hannes Simon. In the Masters, it was a great hole shot pull for Brian Herbst on the 421 Racing KTM, but he pulled it too tight, and sweeping around the outside was Bester. On the ladies lineup, it was everyone eyes on Nali Kalibuta, coming off her 3rd place overall at the Desert 1000 just a few weeks back. But on this kind of terrain, it did look like it was going to be Marty Backfisher and the big 700 that would run the numbers. She pulled the whole shot, with Nali Kali getting bogged down off the line. She would have to do the chase down in the early laps and the early dust. Lap 1 once again had Jacobs with clear air, and the story was, in 2nd place, Hannes Simon, now charging.
I've been training hard, and I've been training more for racing, and I've been living more healthier, and just to get myself on the point that I want to be.
Rowan Tote ran an early number 3 spot overall, but there were a lot of casualties on lap number 1. Stefan Swanepoel's quad letting go, as well as Rustman, allowing new names inside the top 5.
What makes this a special race for the people, it's just a different type of terrain. We're a little bit further out of Pretoria. It's a nice bushveld feel. The community here is so friendly. the variety of the terrain is so nice. So you've got bushveld, you've got fast terrain, you've got tight and twisty, you've got two-spur roads. So I think that's what makes it so special.
Henny Macau Sr. last year winning the Masters Championship, this year going out and racing with the big dogs in the Q2s. He was in a ding-dong battle with the welcome return of Johan Oosthuizen, who was coming back from a 6-month layoff due to injuries sustained in a crash last season. Inside the top 10, we saw a lot of different players and a lot of different names starting to really enjoy themselves on this incredible round number 4 racing track laid out at Lehau. Björn van Zyl battled as he got caught in the dust on lap number 1. It was going to be a question mark to see if he could climb the ladder and get up to where he belonged inside the top 5. Out front, still no problems for Gideon Jacobs though, as he just charged and extended off the front. Hannes was still the number 2 spot and leading in the Q2s.
Yeah, very nervous. We are 16 competitors in our class. And yeah, just going to enjoy the race today. I'm far behind on points, so yeah, just want to finish.
Johan Oosthuizen was building pace as he got himself up into 3rd overall and 2nd in the Q2s. That knocked Ron Todt down a place, but it was an incredible ride coming out of Xander Branking to remain inside the top 5 on the Can-Am. Just out of the top 5, it was JP Van Veek who had made the big trip up from Natal and was enjoying the terrain, trying to get himself into a podium placing in the ever-competitive Q1s. For the Q2s, trying to make their way into a podium placing for the first time in the season, it was David Strydom alongside Franco Annandale. For the Masters quads at Lehau, they gave us a really strong lineup. Once again, Pete Swanepoel walking away with a fistful of dollars and points coming off a 6th place ride. He couldn't get on the pace of Stef Bester, the big man from Middelburg, having a bit of a tortuous race and a rough season in 2018, but still, the top 5 is going to help him out. A little bit further up the road then, we're talking about Tony Dos Santos, the ever-present Dos Santos squad, making their way inside the top 5, a rock-solid number 4. Steve Wilkinson coming off some of the best rides of his season as well, trying to build himself into championship contention. A 3rd place here will help him out to climb and get all those ever-valuable points. Francois Smallberger, a super aggressive ride once again. He is definitely a massive threat for the championship. But this time around at Lehau, we had a brand new winner, and it was the 421 KTM of Brian Herbst that walked away with his first ever GXCC win to top the charts and start to find that form at the second half of the season.
Keenan's not here, that's sad. I think he's got exams or something. But yeah, still a big field. I think Q1 is 12 entries, so it's going to be a lot of competition.
At Lehau, the 50-50 split of wide open and technical was keeping the racing close.
Straights, a lot of dust because it's dry and it's winter and everything is going to be tough. It's tough to see if you're not in front, and so the main goal is just to come in front and stay there.
For JP Van Veek, the fight was on to try and beat out on Xander Branken, and David Strydom was closing in on his first podium of the season in the Q2s.
A variety of terrain. It's 48 kilometers long. They're going to enjoy it. It's a lot the same as last year. We've changed the direction around for this year.
Franco Annandale was starting to get in trouble. Henny Macau Sr. was closing him down big time, and straight after that, it was Hannes Annandale trying to climb his way up inside of a top 5. On the final lap, the big story was heading out onto the loop. Gideon Jacobs had a terminal failure on the machine. He was out of the race, meaning that for the first time on the day at Lehau, Hannes Simon led overall. The big man was now up into a number 2 spot as well. A great return to the flying Johan Oosthuizen, and Ruan Todt now was hanging on to the number 1 spot in the Q1s. Straight after that, it was an incredible ride coming out of Xander Branken. He was going to be high-fiving himself from now until round number 5. But out front with a big overall win and the win in the Q2s, once again, the championship points leader, Hannes Simon. But the return to form for Johan Oosthuizen, beating out Dierwold Strydom with his best podium finish of the year, ahead of Franco Annandale and Henny Macau Sr. In the Q1s, round number 4 gave us a brand new winner on the tour. Ron Tout walking away with the big win in the Q1s ahead of Xander Branken, JP Van Veek, Martin Beyers and Dierwold van Staden, with Gideon Jacobs tagging a number 7 finish, important for the championship, even though he couldn't complete the race.
Yeah, it was, I'm going to be honest, it's very unexpected, but there's still a lot of fast guys out there, so I'm not going to lose focus now. I'm going to keep my focus and do what I can to stay ahead of in the lead of the championship.
Look, I'm expecting lots of dust, lots of loose gravel, flat out, so yeah, I'm hoping I can keep it wide open.
I'm leading it, so I'm quite happy. This morning I checked the quads going out. It's going to be quite dusty, so I think the whole shot is quite a key factor in this race. Yeah, all the big boys are always here to come play, and I'm quite excited. And my whole shot Husqvarna is always ready for the game.
Yeah, I must admit it was one of my first GXCCs that we came the road, and Lawrence puts on a good show, you know. So I'm definitely here supporting for the rest of the year, and hopefully today we can pull another one off.
On the OR1s, the story of the year has been JC Nienaber's incredibly consistent and fast form, putting him at the top of the pile. But with Kenny Gilbert, D'Artagnan Lovejoy and Lo Schmidt all in the lineup, it was going to be a big ask to walk away with another big win. Off the gate, it was the local favourite Lo who pulled the numbers, and it's great to see the factory KTM man back on the numbers, although he got a little bit wild and that allowed King Kenny to get back in front, and in the dust-filled first kilometres, it was going to be all important to pull the whole shot and get the clear air. Kenny was going to run and hide and leave Lo and D'Artagnan to pick up the pieces. In the OR2's championship points leader JJ Daisel once again saw clear air, but he was going to get pushed and pushed real hard this time around. Taki Bojorges was going to be in the mix, as well as an incredibly in-form Adriano Catalano. But the surprise lineup was Ian Rawls stepping on to a 350 for the first time, leaving some gaps in the OR3s. The man in form on that championship has been McLeod. Darren McLeod in an absolute burner on 2018, with Jared Kutsia starting to push him close. In the seniors, it was Weinhard Kleinams who had a wheel out front until he tucked it, and that took himself and championship leader Bruce Viljoen down. They would start at the back of the pack, leaving it all about Wade Blau to run the numbers out front. First lineup and first rider off the gate running clear air. It was all about King Kenny running big pace, and in lap 1 he pulled a massive gap over the chasing pack that was starting to be led now by D'Artagnan Lovejoy on the Yamaha.
Ja nee, dis baie kompeterend. JC Nienaber doen baie goed hierdie jaar. Ek lê tweede in die championship. Hoopelik kan ek also bly. Maar ja, hoopelik kan ons albei baie goed doen vandag. Ek weet nie wie's derde op die oomblik nie. Ek dink dit is D'Artagnan. Maar ja, ek hoop ons almal geniet dit net en ek hoop ons is veilig op die einde van die dag.
Ian Rawls caught everyone napping and just slid his way straight to the front of the OR2s on lap 1.
You know, it's a blessing that majority of the terrain here is turf ground, and that doesn't really make a lot of dust, but the roost is real. And then you get to the red sand, the red gravel, that's dusty. So it's 50-50. It just depends where on the track you're going to catch up to another rider. You might get dust, you might be lucky and catch him on the turf sections.
We're over the hump, you know, so we've got the worst of the injuries behind us. I think we're pretty much back at 100% physically. So, and coming off a good result at Desert, now it's like sort of the final stint towards the end of the year, and we just got to keep it consistent and be smooth, and look after the bike and look after the body. But yeah, we're feeling good and looking to just go out there and have some fun.
Even though he pulled the whole shot, he had some issues on lap number 1, and it was going to be a come from behind ride. He was trying to stay ahead at the moment of an in-form rush. McLeod had been dropped down now to number 2 spot as Kutsia ran the pace out front and was extending, trying to get himself way up the road. Whereas the riders outside the top 15 were just breathing and sucking dust, trying to figure out where the track was.
Yeah, no, with Wayne not here, I thought let me chase some of the seniors just to have a bit of a race. I really miss him. If you've got no competitor, you've got no race. So I really hope he gets well soon.
Much more famous as a name in enduro racing, Stephen King lined himself up and got a number 7 finish at round number 4. He was chasing down on Gianni Tossini. He had a nice ride to get himself up inside of the top 6, but up the road, it was all about Harry Krobler inside of a top 4.
Listen, you know, it's been a difficult year. You know, I've backed off a bit. I haven't been training as much, but we are, you know, I give it everything I've got. It's always good racing the guys. You know, Peter and Wayne, they're especially fast. You know, it's sad that Wayne's out, so we're going to have to just see what goes on. But yeah, I'm very happy with my racing, and I'm very consistent.
It was tough. It was hard. The turf clay sections is hard, and it was ridden out, so it's hard on your joints. But it's well marked it, and thanks to Lawrence and the guys, did a wonderful job.
So Peter Hall hammered the nail, with unfortunately Wayne Farmer missing out on this round. Justin Broughton kept him pretty honest though on the Sherco to bag a number 2 finish ahead of Leon Gerber and Harry Krobler. With seniors once again giving us one of the biggest lineups of the day, cracking a top 5 was going to be a massive task.
You know, it literally sets the standard for South African racing. You know, so everybody else should really follow this. It is definitely the way it should be. So let's see what happens.
Going for the Ironman title once again, winning in the quad, swinging the leg straight onto the bike. Hannes Simon got himself a 6th place finish with a broken clutch. 2 laps into the race, championship points leader Bruce Viljoen had to settle for a number 5 finish. Up the road from him was his first turn sparring partner, Wynand Kleinams. Inside the top 3 though is return to form once again for Guy Henley. He's been missing in action for a couple of rounds. It was great to see the Yamaha man swing a leg and once again get himself back onto the box.
You know, I've been practicing a couple more starts because they've got a different way of doing their starts here, and yeah, let's see what happens. But it's a long race, it's good fun.
Lloydie managed to bag a number 2 finish, but this time, once again, the in-form man is coming out of Roost KTM. A return to championship form for Wade Blau, and he is going to be a tough man to beat as he carries all the momentum forward into round number 5 of the championship race series. Lloydie and Henley made it 2 yammies in 2 and 3, with Wynand Kleinams in 4th and championship leader Bruce Viljoen just scraping in 5th. For the high school racers, racing all on the 125s, Lehau was going to be a tiebreaker. 3 rounds so far, 3 different winners.
Yeah, it's true. I think the start is crucial. Usually I don't mind too much about the start because there's so many corners, but this morning you can see with the quads, the start is important.
For 2018, the 722 of Alex Glockel, concentrating on his studies this time around, only manages to get himself a number 7 finish. Ethan Popplestone climbs up the order into 6th this time around. 5th rider on the day was Ryan Peltzer. Mr. 125 still battling to find that number 1 spot and the form that he had in the last 2 seasons. 4th place on the day went to Nardis Rabi, carrying some battle scars from the problems that he had off the gate in turn number 1. Josh Johnson managed to find his way onto the podium for the first time since making the step up from the 85 seniors last year, but it was between Storm Viljoen and Lo Pretorius for the win at Lehau.
I got a right jump on the gate, and from there I chased Storm down, and on lap 3 I caught him, and lap 4 I was the whole time in front. Yeah, Storm kept me on my toes the whole day, and it was really fun.
So Lo Pretorius answers all of his questions, and the critics walks away with his 2nd win of the season. He won round 1. He takes the victory at round number 4, and he starts to now extend in the championship over the rest of the field. Storm Viljoen is going to be his closest competitor for the rest of the season. Back out on the main track and out front, it was the Kenny Gilbert show as he stretched his legs in full domination, trying to get a grip on the GXCC championship. D'Artagnan Lobjoy came out of the desert. He had a great podium on day number 1, problems on day number 2. GXCC though, he's the reigning champion, so we know what he can do.
No, it's all thanks to our sponsors, really. I mean, we've got amazing guys behind us, supporting us. I don't see them as sponsors, they're partners, because without them, none of this is possible. And and friendly people. I mean, it's such a blessing having them part of this series, and it's thanks to them that it makes it work.
In the OR2s, Rawl was still looking for his rookie win, but he was getting pushed as Taki built the pace.
Yeah, I mean, it changes up the race every time, so a lot of people are good in different terrain, and I think this levels out the playing field.
Jason Vetter coming back from his early season injuries. He was looking good for a top 3, but JJ Daisel, the championship points leader, was aggressive in his moves and starting to climb the ladder. Adriano Catalano had found a track that suited him and the two-stroker down to the ground, and he was also on point for a top 5 ride. In the OR3s, McLeod was back in front with Kutsia having issues.
Anyone can win on any given day, and there's lots of guys out there that are fast. Everyone's putting in work, you know. You can't rest on your laurels. You've got to put in the work, and you've got to come here and ride properly, you know. So look, we're going to try and be smooth and be safe, but we're here to race.
A fueling problem on lap number 2 had put the KTM man back 1 position, but there was still time in the race to try and climb the ladder. 3rd place at the moment was held by the Mad Kid, Martin van Jaarsveld. Rush was doing a good ride as well to try and break himself into his first season top 5 for the OR2s. Rob Ramos had been an incredible story throughout the season, getting picked up by the Mahoney Racing team, getting onto the 250s once again, and was eyeing up a top 6 finish at Lehau.
Yeah, you know, I couldn't ask for a better start today. I didn't get the whole shot, but I came out first, so that was really good. I had a clean run the first lap and tried to put the hammer down as much as possible.
On the final lap, it looked like all positions inside the top 5 were set.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Man, I love this terrain. It's grippy, it feels like it, and I enjoyed this 350. Yes, it's endless power, just so fun.
Taki did what he could, but it was eventually going to be a number 2 finish in the OR2s. JJ Daisel managed to get himself back up into 3rd place, beating out some key players. McLeod also stayed ahead of Jared Kutsia, and it was going to be Van Jaarsveld in the 3 spot. At the flag, in the big overall win and the OR1s, it was the King once again that saw the checkers to start climbing the ladder in the championship, coming out of round number 4. Confirmation then of the result. King Kenny Gilbert and the Husqvarna walk away with the big win at round number 4, beating out on the Yamaha of Lovejoy, and an informed Schmidt gets 3rd.
You know, Lawrence and the GXCC team put on such a great event, as always. But yeah, I'm just glad to put my Pepsin Plastic Liquid Moly Husqvarna on top.
For the OR2s, the big story of the season, jumping out of the OR3s late on in the year, Ian Rawl gets his first victory, beating out class champion Taki Bodgiodgis and championship leader this season, JJ Daisel III. For the OR3s, Darren McLeod once again rode out of his skin to take the big win ahead of Jared Kutsia and Martin van Jaarsveld. Boren Pretorius did a good ride this time around, just off the box in 4th place, beating out Peter Karam and Rob Ramos to 6th. Kings of Dirt and the GXCC races are proudly brought to you by Northwest Bulk Carriers, along with GXCC and their co-sponsors.